This is The Homecoming with the Downing Brothers Podcast, where we talk about real estate, business, and financial literacy. They live by the motto, dream, plan, execute. Your hosts, Anthony and Anton Downing.
Welcome to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. This is Anthony.
And this is Anton.
And today we have a married couple on the show.
You know, like towards the end of the season 1, we had a couple of married couples. But let me tell you something right now. This couple is way closer to home for us.
They are definitely way closer to home. I can't wait till we dive into that. We have Kim and Tim Lewis from Curl Mix. And you know what? When you talk about close to home, we went to the same. Wait. We went to the same elementary school. Mm-hmm. We went to the same high school, and went to the same college. Pole Classical stand up.
Yeah.
Morgan Park
High
stand
School.
up.
Ravens to Mustang.
That's right, Ravens to Mustang.
You are buying champagne or banner.
So we are we are Ravens, we are Mustangs, and we are fighting the line all at once.
And don't we live on like the same block?
And we live on the same block. You know what I'm saying? Woodline stand up. You know what I'm saying?
63rd Street.
That's right, 63rd Street. And when it comes to real estate, hey, it's hot over there.
Yeah,
you better get your piece of the pie where you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is homecoming, and we want both of you all to individually to tell people what's your hometown, which we kind of established a little bit, but what's your hometown, and when you were growing up, what was your first exposure to real estate or business or financial literacy? We'll let the ladies start.
I mean, since she does have the queen microphone,
she does have the queen microphone.
While the peasants over here have all the regular
you
microphones.
have peasant microphone. She has the queen microphone.
So I'm from the Wild Hunnets on the Cottage Grove, begging out Cottage Grove. No, I'm kidding. Nobody's begging.
That's on the south side of Chicago for all y'all.
Yeah, Wild Hunnets.
Right. So I grew up on 103rd in Cottage Grove, 104th to be exact. And my first entrance to introduction to financial literacy, oh my goodness, it didn't come till I was probably in college. Okay. That's late. But I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur somewhere I wanted to work in corporate in high school. I knew that's what I wanted to do. Then I got to college and I met my professor. And my professor took some students to Italy. And while he was over there, he bought a Ferrari and had it sent back. And I was like, how you do that? And found out that he was an entrepreneur, and that just kind of a light bulb went off. And so that was my introduction.
I need to be that.
But I don't even know, did that answer your question? Is that what you meant by financial literacy?
Yeah, because, we know that people start learning about real estate or business or being financially literate at different phases in their life. And we know that some people, they become successful even though they learn later. And there are some people who get a head start because they do have parents or family members who guide them along. And we want people to know that it can happen either way.
You went to Italy in college or high school?
No, so I didn't actually go to Italy. My friend went to Italy with the professor. I was in the class, and I was jealous that I didn't get to go. And then they were like, yeah, he bought a Ferrari while he was over there and had it sent back. And we knew that he was a professor teaching entrepreneurship 101, but he didn't have a PhD. So I was like, how are you teaching you have a PhD? He was like, oh, well, when you're an entrepreneur and you're successful, they invite you to be an adjunct professor or honorary professor, whatever it is. And so I was like, oh, you don't even got to get the credentials if you've succeeded enough on your own. And I was like, okay, so I need to be an entrepreneur because I can pretty much walk into any door if I'm really successful.
Well, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. What about you? What's your story? What's your homecoming?
Man, so I'm actually from the Morgan Park area, from 112th. And I got my first introduction to real estate actually kind of from my parents. We were the type of family where my parents always imagined, owning a dream house, moving into the big house and have everybody stay there. Mm-hmm. And so they would house shop regularly. So we were the type of family who would go to any new development and look around and take tours. We would go out to the suburbs and look at the big houses, you know, and just imagine what our lives could be like. We never moved there, and in fact, we never really even owned our own home. That I finally learned later on.
Oh, you didn't know that your parents didn't own the home you grew up in?
Yeah, we owned it. you had that mortgage, but then we refinanced, and then my parents lost it while I was in college, and that was like an eye-opening experience.
So that was like right after the recession?
Yep.
Yeah, and my mom, we lost ours too when we were in college. So
we started school.
The recession hit hard.
Yeah.
We started school with homes and then came back and did not have homes.
Right.
Basically.
Man, that sucked, man.
Yeah, and my grandparents that was like, they bought that home when they were near 20s or something like that, and then they had it for like 30, 40 years, some crazy long time, and then family lost it, so.
Yeah.
So that was right around the time where I saw my professor who could buy a Ferrari overseas and bring it back, and then we were losing our house that was like worth $120,000. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's not even a expensive house, but it was just crazy. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, obviously, no matter whether you're observing a good situation or a bad situation, it's forming like your own like idea of what you want for your life.
Right.
Helps you form that game plan.
Exactly. So Kim always kind of gets on me for this, but I grew up with that same kind of mentality. It's like, I'm gonna own my dream house one day. I'm gonna move my family in. It's gonna be a nice big house. Got the theater in there. Got my nice kitchen, bedroom, all that good stuff.
Right.
Okay.
So I used to tell them all the time, like, Tim, that's like poor folk mentality, right? Like, that you dream about this big, beautiful home, because you're going to be broke once you get in it, because you can't afford it, right? So it's only, I was like, we need to focus on things that make money.
Assets over liability.
Yes.
Yes. So, but what? Go ahead.
But we did buy that house. But we did.
So y'all know
And
this.
she enjoys that house very much.
She does enjoy this
I know
house.
she enjoys not being homeless.
Did Curl
for
Mix
sure.
come first, or did the house come first?
You know what's interesting? Curl Mix came before the house.
Yes.
So we had a really interesting journey. We left school 2013, got married 2013, and in that summer, stayed with our parents, and then we moved into an apartment, like our very first apartment it was like our own little piece of something that we had. And each year, I think, of our marriage, we have looked for homes until we bought our own house.
Yeah.
So we only moved into an apartment because we didn't buy a house that we had our eye on out in like Olympia Fields, Illinois.
We house shopped everywhere, actually.
Then we moved to Atlanta. We house shopped there, and we're like really close. We looked at like 10 homes. We had 2 real estate agents, and ended up moving back to Chicago. And then we stayed in another apartment, and then got our house.
At the time, though, we got the house. Tim was making like almost into the multiple 6 figures. And
Almost $250,000 a year as a programmer.
Yes, and I was running a
Hey,
business.
this is a smart guy right here. He's not a peasant. He's a smart guy.
and we were like, I'm like, Tim, this is the home purchase that is not going to make us money up front. Like, you know that, right? Like, it's basically eating our cash. It was like, but we have Curl Mix. And Curl Mix is what we were investing all of our money into, and we knew that if we could grow fast, it would be worth something, mostly on paper. It's not liquid cash, but it's like we have that. It's an asset.
Yeah, you have net worth.
Well, which one was first though? Did you form Curl Mix first?
We formed Curl Mix in
what
2015.
did you buy?
Could you explain what Curl Mix is to the
sorry.
homies?
Yeah, let's
And
get
we
into
didn't
it.
even
Yeah.
say who we are.
Right. We just dived
jumped
into it so quick.
But it was fun, right? Let's do it.
Yes, I'm Kim, CEO and co-founder of Curl Mix. Curl Mix is a clean beauty brand for women with curly hair. So we help you get the best washing oil ever. So if you can see my hair right now, like your hair looks when it's wet. It's kind of how it looks when it dries, and that's the goal of our products.
Yep. And so I am Tim Lewis, COO and co-founder of Curl Mix. And my goal is we make almost all of the products, and we get them shipped out to you, all perfect with a great customer experience. And we started Curl Mix back in 2015, and it started very differently from how it is right now. So now we make and sell our own products, but before that, we were a DIY company. So we would send you kits to make your own hair products at home using all the ingredients and the recipes that we provided. We did that for a couple of years, realized we weren't really growing anymore, and so we decided to pivot. Like, my wife was 7 months pregnant, working on recipes, trying to get down our first product, and then a month after we gave birth to our little baby boy, we flipped the business. Lost all that recurring revenue from that subscription model that we had. Kim was like, I think it was our lowest month of sales ever.
Yeah,
like, even lower than the month that we launched.
We did like $3,000 that month.
Down from about 15.
Yeah, But now we make way more than that.
Why? Well, no, I missed it. Why was it a downturn right there at that moment?
So we started as a do-it-yourself box, right? And what we found out is that it was novelty more than it was necessity. So it was fun to make your own haircare products at home, but you were still going to buy the stuff that you were going to use regularly, right? Every, like you buy deodorant. Yeah, I might make my deodorant once, but I'm going to buy my deodorant every month I need it.
Yeah, so we were nice to have, like a vitamin versus a painkiller, where we were actually solving a problem that people had.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha. So then we were doing that, and we saw that the first year we made $130,000, and then the second year we made $140,000, which is like not really much growth at all. And so we were like, okay, this isn't working. We have to do something different. And so we asked our customers what they wanted, and they asked us to pre-make their favorite boxes. So like our number one selling box was a flaxseed gel. And you basically boil the flax seeds and extract the gel for your hair. And so we made that, and we sold hundreds in a matter of hours. And I was like,
we did a pre-launch.
A matter of hours.
Yeah. And I was
How
like,
did that feel?
I was like,
was great.
this is it. I was
In a matter of hours. This is like on the internet.
Yes.
Yeah, so we pre-sold. We hadn't made anything. We were just like, do people really want this? And so one of our rules is when we launch a new business, a new product, or what have you, the only thing that matters is will people buy it? Sales talk, money talks, right?
Right.
So we were like, we're kind of thinking about this. The customer said they want it. Let's test it. So we put it on our website. We're going to launch a batch of 60 bottles of gel. Kim's going to make it. And
Tim was still working at the time, too.
Yeah, I worked the entire time up until 2018.
Yep.
So Kim put it up on the website. We sold out that first one less than an hour. Okay, let's
add another batch.
Just add another batch.
So like
Okay,
60 more bottles.
60 more bottles. Okay, that's sold out. Let's just do it again. Let's add another.
Wait, so
one.
like hour after hour, you just kept on adding availability?
We did it for a couple hours.
Yeah,
It was like, okay, I got to figure out how to make,
because we were like,
big
okay,
batches.
it's gonna be a point where we don't
then-
actually have a recipe. We had a recipe, but it's like we got to actually make all these bottles now, and we had never done it before.
Right.
Yeah, and so then that was in October of 2016. 2016, because we launched it before we switched. And we, I gave birth in December. And then we...
That's 2017.
I'm sorry,
You were born in
2017. Yep, so we did that in October 2017, closed down the old version of the business in December 2017, gave birth to our baby. Then in January 2018 is when we did that $3,000 in sales. So we had made that pivot. It was our lowest month because we switched over from recurring revenue. So it was just getting everything one at a time.
It was so low because we just made a clean break. We're like, we're not going to offer any subscriptions. We're basically a new company now.
Yeah, and but the next month we did 8,000, and then the next month we did 16,000, and the next month we did 30,000.
And then you realized you had made the right decision.
Yes.
I mean, at what point did you go on that TV show?
What, Shark Tank?
Yeah, Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Was it
that TV
was
show?
It before
Shark
you
Tank.
started this part right here?
No. We went on Shark Tank, so if we went from 3 to 8 to 16 to 30.
This is all in 2018.
All in 2018.
Right.
So we went September. September is when we filmed. So of that
Of 2018.
year. Yep. So it was just like kind of going up and up, and so we were doing about $100,000 a month by the time we got on the show.
$100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Revenue or profit?
Revenue.
Okay.
Profit is I don't even know if that's a thing in the beauty game. I'm kidding. But no, most beauty companies are not profitable because you spend so much on brand. So brand is like experiences, things that don't really make money. So like if you see somebody going on a trip to Cancun with influencers and that was all like, there was no profit from that. You know what I'm saying?
They just spent it to get the name out there.
Exactly.
But you guys are not doing that.
No, we're not doing it. We're trying
Because you guys are trying to make a profit.
Yes.
Precisely.
Well, no, you're not trying. You're making a profit at this point, right?
Yes.
Now, this will be one of our... We've now gotten to the point where 2018 was like our first year in business for all intents and purposes. And that year, we didn't make any money, but we grew from... nothing, $3,000 a month to over $1 million in sales in that first year. And then...
Wait, can you say that number again?
Yeah, we did over $1 million in sales in that first year after our pivot.
All right. That's one of those things that make people pay attention. When I don't care if it's profit or not. When you got $1 million in revenue, that means you have figured out how to deliver something to market that people want.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so now, just last year, we did about $5.5 million in revenue. but no profit yet. So we're still we're figuring that out.
So you did that without investors at that?
We did get investors last year. So after Shark Tank aired in March, we raised money.
And you didn't take any money, any deal from the Sharks?
No, we didn't.
No, we should.
Why is that?
They offered a deal. So we went on the show kind of at the point where our business was 3xing month over month. And so we were like, we can't keep up really. We need advice. We're always out of stock. It's like we need some help. So we were actually really looking forward to going on the show and getting that kind of support and expertise that a shark could bring. And so we knew going into it what our numbers were. We knew we had a set value. We knew what we were worth. But that didn't really jive with what the producers and what the sharks wanted. So we kind of lowered the valuation so that we could potentially get a shark on the team. But then when we got in front of the sharks, they wanted to lower the valuation even more. So we went in hoping to get $400,000 for
10%.
For 10%.
Okay.
And that was lower. That was okay.
$400,000 for 10% equity in your company.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So that's a $4 million valuation. At the time, though, we felt like we were worth $7. So
we could have gotten $7. We got offers for $7. But then Shark Tank, they were they gave us an offer for a $2 million valuation. So they bought us from $7,000
for 20%.
They bought us from $7 million in valuation to $2 million in valuation, and we were like, nah.
All the sharks were offering, or was it just Drake? Was it?
It was
Drake?
Robert Herjavec who set that offer.
Yes.
And so we walked away from that.
Yes. And then after Shark Tank aired, we got an offer for about 10% for 10% of our company for $1 million.
That's way better.
Way better. So that was like a $12 million valuation.
Yes, yeah. So we had we raised a seed round of 1.2 for 10% of our company, and it was led by the CEO of LinkedIn. And he actually
LinkedIn.
Yeah, yes. So the CEO of LinkedIn.
That's great.
Our main investor.
That's great.
We're gonna go into LinkedIn a little bit later, but continue.
Yeah. So it's a really, really interesting story about how that happened. So we had his business partners who we first got connected with through one of our really, really early supporters, which is Arlen Hamilton at Backstage Capital. They were first money into Chromix. They gave us a $25,000 just seed fund just to get started. There was no equity involved. It was just
it was a convertible note. So it eventually turned to equity, but it ended up being like a percent. But it came around the time when we were pivoting. So I had been in business for 2 years, wasn't making much money, and then we pivoted to this new version of Chromix where we make the products for you. But if we were losing money, how could we pivot without money to invest in inventory or whatever? And so the $25,000 that she gave us helped get us to that $1 million in sales. And so we don't intend to raise much more money at all. So we want to maintain our equity at this point.
Right.
So that's why
which is 90%.
focus, it's about 76%. I gave my team some. So my team has about 10%. There's an option pool, and then our investors get about 10-11%.
Yeah, so team has 10%. The option pool is for future team. So
your team is your production team that's producing the product.
Yes, right. But then if we ever have to bring on anybody to replace me or Tim, if
an executive
CEO or something like that, once we're doing $50 million in sales or whatever, I might need somebody who knows more than me. So you got to have some equity set aside for that person too. But all future stuff, we get into the weeds. I feel I don't even know.
It's not the weeds though, because think about this. We talk numbers on our show.
Perfect.
Normally it's not normally, but most often it's real estate numbers. So for you all to break down how a company works. So this is literally how a company works and why it can continue to move forward. Yeah, setting aside equity to bring in somebody that entices an executive to come to it, and that makes sense. And the homies need to hear that.
Right. Okay. I think the homies also need to understand that what it means to have equity in a business. You know what I'm saying? Or the difference between revenue and profit in a business. And the fact that, in the beginning of almost any business, there's going to be a period of time where you're generating revenue, but you're not necessarily turning a profit. So you're not getting rich, even if you have $1 million coming in.
Right.
But if you make it to that point with some smart decisions, you're in position to make, profitability, like that. So
you hit on a couple things right there. It was when we got that investment, that 1.2 million, people you got $1 million in a bank? Y'all are rich.
Right.
That's
No.
the company's money.
Right.
We are not rich. We have to explain that to too many people,
Exactly.
to be honest. But Arlen gave us that first $25K in 2018, and then as we were preparing for Shark Tank, she hooked us up with our the business partner who works with the CEO of LinkedIn, and they were able to give us like how much money was it prior to Shark Tank? Because we needed to prep for Shark Tank. It was 200K, and that allowed us to get the inventory we needed because we knew we were going to go crazy on Shark Tank.
We were still backed up, but yeah.
Yeah, we were backed up for like a month on orders after Shark Tank. We made almost $1 million in that month that the show aired.
Yeah.
Was that good or bad? Y'all don't make it sound good.
Oh,
That
it was
was
good.
it was excellent.
Okay. You was like,
I'm
man,
looking
that's
at your
all
facial
right.
expression.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
We got places to go though.
Right. Like,
No, it was excellent, but it was grind time. Like
Yes.
it was, you know,
It was- Can you
every single
imagine-
day overtime.
We had about, I think, maybe like 10,000 orders or something that month. But you imagine the month before, literally just the month before, we had done 3,000 orders. And that was a lot for our staff.
You
Yeah,
didn't
so
triple.
we
And you
did
more
did,
than
and you
triple.
did 7,000 more orders.
Exactly.
So you got 10,000. So wait, take us through a visual of this though. When you say you have 10,000 orders, you physically have a warehouse you go to
Yes.
to actually make this.
Yes.
And then you have to then mail it out, right?
Yes.
And you have employees. How many people does it take to do 10,000 orders in a month or
At
whatever?
the time, we had 20.
No, not when
Almost
Shark
20.
Tank aired. The month before, we had about 11 or 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then that month that Shark Tank aired, everybody just kind of came with employees. And we maybe hired 3 more people.
Okay, yeah.
So we had like 15 people to kind of get all that
And
out.
this is all before you had a subscription service, or
We offer subscriptions for our product. So it comes in a kit, where it's like step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Shampoo, conditioner, moisturizer, gel. And so you can subscribe to that kit. So we have about like maybe 50% of our sales now come from that recurring subscription.
Okay, so it wasn't
Half your-
totally
you said half your
eliminated then,
sales
or you
come-
brought it
okay.
back.
We brought it back in a different way.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
we didn't
now
really
you
introduce-
subscribe to actual products as opposed to the box itself. So
Okay.
the products that
All
you're
right.
getting are your shampoo, conditioner, your moisturizer,
Ready-made.
your gel,
Yes.
ready-made every month,
Yes.
so you don't have to go out and shop.
Okay.
All right, so all that comes right to your door.
and you know what? At this point, I just want to do Anton's definition of the day.
You mean Anton's definition of the day?
When we come back from these messages. All right, we're back for Anton's definition of the day. And the definition of the day is subscription business models. A subscription business model are based on the idea of selling a product or service to receive monthly or yearly of recurring subscription revenue. In essence, subscription business models focus on the way revenue is made so that a single customer pays multiple payments for prolonged access to a good or service. In this case, your good or service is having 1, 2, 3, or 4 different products sent out monthly.
Correct.
Yes.
So they can get any number of products on subscription, but specifically our kits where it takes you through step 1 through 4 of how to get the best wash and go ever. That is our most reliable subscription, and it's something that someone would go through in a given month and then need it the next month. So it's convenient for them.
How much does it cost for your subscription?
About $80 for 4 products. So about $20 a bottle,
Yeah,
basically.
and then if you get on subscription, you can get a little discount on that. I think
It's like
20%.
$65. Yeah, $65 if you subscribe.
And that comes every month? Or is that every
You can
quarter?
do every
Like, how's it work?
month. You can do every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks. We give people the options because we realize a couple different things about our customers. One, everybody uses the products at a different rate. So that we're based on how much hair you have, you might use more or less product. And so we had to have some flexibility. Initially, everything was like once a month, but as we dug into the data, we realized we needed to have more options. And so like Kim said, we grew our subscription revenue from nothing to now almost 50% of what we bring in a given month.
Right. And
That's huge.
Wait, and so what's the revenue per month now?
It depends, but several hundred thousands. So
Several hundred thousands.
Yeah.
I like how easily she said it. Do y'all see how relaxed she was when she
God,
said
look,
that?
we got bills, okay? Look, we got real bills, all right? $1 million bills.
Yeah,
So
every
for me, I just be like, I see the credits and the debits, all right?
All right. Yeah,
so-
you got to balance the book.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate to scale how fast we've been able to scale. I think we were looked at it at the end of last year after going from 100,000, 130,000 to $1 million to then 5.5 million. we're one of the fastest growing hair care companies like of all time. Which is really, really cool, but then also comes with another level of like expectations and attention.
Or things break, or like now we have like you have this high revenue, but then you have to have infrastructure. So you got employees, right? So there are payroll taxes, there's insurance. You know, there's 8 different types of insurances that we now have that I didn't have, you know, this time last year.
Right.
There's rent has, you know, 5x, right? Because you got
you got a bigger space than you had before.
we have 5 units now. Before we only had like 1.5, like 2.
Like units? What you talking about? Like storage units?
Oh no. Okay, so we're in a building. It's an incubator. Yep, for manufacturers. And so last year we only had maybe like 2 units, whereas we make the products in one, and then the other one we pack and fill it and ship it. But then we needed to have storage, and then our shipping department needed more room to ship. Like, because on Black Friday it was absolutely insane. There was no room to do anything. And then we have to have an actual office for people to come into when we record or we film or we do any kind of content or watching a Wednesday to actually have a salon bowl set up and stuff. So we had to get those extra units, and it increases rent. So
are these products only for women?
I was curious about that.
Not even a little bit. So hair is hair, and so our products work for men, women, and children.
Tim has hair.
And I'm actually
his curls
growing.
are kind of popping a little
I'm
bit.
growing my hair out right now. This is 7-day-old curls, to be honest.
And my hair is wet. If y'all see anything in it, I tried to do it before.
Your hair looks great.
Oh, thank you. But I'm like,
She is the hair of the brand, right? So that's one of the reasons we are so successful as a brand is because people have like serious hair envy.
I'm not
for
allowed to
Kim.
cut it. Tim said it's in my
can't cut
contract.
I get that. That hair is money over there. That hair, you got money.
That hair is
straight up
insured.
crown.
All right, wait. So I need I need your attention right now. I need you to look at my hair. Is there anything y'all can do for this hair over here?
Absolutely. So you get your system, and yours will probably last you like a good 2-3 months. So you get your whole system. You got the shampoo, condition, you moisturize, and you have the styling gel. That'll get you popping curls. You only have to do your hair once.
Hey, look, you know what?
Like, we can hook you up.
You know the best part about this? Y'all don't even have to ship it to me. I'm going to walk down the block. I'm going to ring the doorbell. I'm going to have cash in hand. All right? Y'all just, we going to work it out. All right? We
should have brought that one. I'm so sorry. Such poor etiquette.
It's all good. We going to work it out. But you know what? This brings us to our homecoming event. So, our homecoming event, we just find out events that are happening in the world. And you know what's happening in the world? Did you know? I'm sure you guys know. Did you know that the global hair care market is set to grow from $69 billion in 2016, which is in the past, to $87 billion in 2023? I mean, 3 years from now, this industry will be at $87 billion with a B. Bravo. Are African Americans getting a piece of this pie?
Absolutely, yes. Every day there's a new hair care brand popping up on the internet. And it's really just because of e-commerce. Well, there's 2 things. Retail is seemingly dying, right? And so what people don't realize is that they use small indie brands to bring in new customers into the store. So that's their customer acquisition cost, right? If I get a new brand on the shelves, then I'm going to give them this PO for a few $100,000, and I'm going to tell them they need to market to their customers to bring them into my store. And so the benefit of our products is that they might be, I don't know, no more than like 8 inches high and like 2 or 3 inches wide, and they take up a very small amount of space on the shelf. But they're worth $20, $25, $30 depending on the product. And if you're talking makeup, it's worth $40 or $50 for something super, super tiny, right? So that means I can get a bunch of those units on the shelf. So that means if it only takes up a small portion of the store, and it's always right in the middle, so you got to go through a little bit to get to the makeup and the beauty section, right? And so what is it doing? You're going to buy other things while you're there. So they're using that brand to kind of get you in the store to spend your money.
With an impulse buy.
Yes, so that's one way, right? And then the other thing is e-commerce. It's really easy to set up a Shopify store. I mean, we could probably set one up doing a podcast, and you could be selling products.
Okay.
And so I think those 2 reasons
we
are why.
have Shopify for our T-shirts that we're wearing right now.
Why don't we do a Curl Mix Downing Brothers edition?
And so it's really easy to start a hair care company, but
the internet is that great equalizer. And so there's so many new brands popping up, but the great thing about it is they are really dominated by minorities. So minorities right now are driving the hair care industry. And then that growth that you were talking about, that's coming from almost specifically developing markets. So not only is black hair care growing, but Latino hair care is growing. Asian hair care is just a monster right now. Indian hair care is growing as well. And all those things are coming out of emerging markets and kind of disrupting the current pattern that the beauty industry is kind of stuck on, which is like this Western beauty ideals. And so the cool thing is that presents opportunities for companies like us to come in, disrupt the market, steal market share from the big boys, and then also continue to grow out into the future.
All right. Well, when I think about hair care, I think about these places, these beauty supply shops, these beauty supply stores, and the majority of the time they're not owned by black people. Is that different from this discussion?
Yes and
products
no.
versus stores.
Yes and no, because the black owned beauty supply store is becoming a thing now. It's growing. I think we're in a group of entrepreneurs called Traffic Sales and Profit, and there are several new entrepreneurs that have their own beauty salons, but it is kind of a closed market.
And they make money too. I think one lady, she makes like $1 million, like with her beauty supply store for
three
each
of them,
year.
right over in the East Coast. And so like that opportunity is growing, but they have been dominated by like Korean, Chinese owned or Vietnamese owned, beauty networks. But we're disrupting that market as well. And then we're skipping that whole thing by going on e-commerce.
But I would say that a lot of the retail curly hair care brands that are out there, we do kind of dominate the curly hair market. And I say we, I mean like black folks, people of color.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say we dominate the shelves in that way. Because the Target today looks nowhere near what a Target looked like 15 years ago, right? Because most people were buying $3-4 shampoos and conditioners from like the big brands, from the P&Gs or like the
P&G, Johnson & Johnson,
Unilever, all of them. And now we're buying them from these individual companies that are smaller like us, but taking over the shelf essentially.
Right. So
is your product like more expensive than those products were?
Yes.
I want to make a point on that one. A lot of times when people, you have a black-owned business, there are some expectations that come along with that from your customers, right?
Okay.
Good ones and bad ones. So one of the things is that a lot of times people would expect you to be cheaper, but what they're missing is that I have to be more expensive because I don't have the infrastructure of one of those larger brands. So I can't produce something at the same level, with the same level of resources as like a P&G or a Johnson & Johnson.
Especially your product is high quality as yours.
Yeah, and exactly. They're using typically cheaper ingredients to get those same kind of economies of scale.
Cheaper labor. If their team is getting paid, $8-9 an hour minimum wage, if our team is getting paid $17 an hour, because you can't live on $9 an hour in Chicago.
We start off double minimum wage because we want to take care of our people. And so it's
being ethical.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we offer like 401k plans for our team. We also offer health insurance, dental, vision.
What? Are y'all?
Y'all sound like an ideal place to work. Hey, man, I want to apply to work there
as
now.
soon as we get off of this podcast, we going
hilarious.
straight to work for y'all.
Hilarious.
Hey, you know what? This is like a Black History Month episode. Clearly, this is going to be coming out in February. Right. So, we just had a Black History moment where they like just say, work for this black company. We got a 401k.
We got full benefits.
Full benefits.
On the first day. Right?
Man. I'm proud of y'all.
Thank you.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm listening. We're 30 minutes in at this point, and I'm just listening to what you guys have accomplished. And we haven't finished the episode yet, but man, you guys started a business. You stuck to it. You turned down an offer on TV from the Sharks. You got better opportunities by sticking to your guns. You pay your employees a living wage and
did
benefits.
This all inside of what, a 4-year span?
3.
3 years.
In 3 years you did.
Wow.
Thank you.
And the other thing about this too
he said,
is
put
like,
respect on his name. 3.
The thing is too, okay, so for all the homies that don't live in Chicago, okay, like we live on the south side, we live on the same block in Woodline, and which is a predominantly black neighborhood. These are my neighbors. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people around you, and that's why we had this platform to make people aware of who's around you in your network. Like the people that we work with, in our community, there are some great people out there. You just got to get connected. You got to become aware of it and then start working with them. These are the people I want in my circle because I'm learning from you all. Just like, you know, I mean, obviously it's an exchange because we can talk about real estate if y'all want to.
We have
us on game, like, for real. He put us on real estate game, and that's one of the things. Like when we do finally get to that point where we're profitable and we have that opportunity to invest what we've been able to grow with Curl Mix into something else, real estate is at the top of the list.
Yeah, especially for Tim. That's all he's been talking about.
But you on the right track. On the right track. Yeah, you create more assets to pay for liabilities, for other liabilities. You got to so you already created an asset with your business, and then go on to create another asset with, let's say, a commercial building.
Yeah, maybe y'all should start with like a 6-unit, 8-unit building, probably.
No, well, I was going to even suggest that they could do a mixed unit building. Excuse me, a mixed use building, because you guys could buy a mixed unit building that has residential on top, and then on the bottom, instead of it being a storefront, it actually be the space that you need in order to execute your business.
You know what's very interesting? Oh, I think you're about to say it, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. So we actually
I'll let you talk about it.
We've actually
y'all
been
the same wavelength. It's almost like twins.
Y'all so funny. Y'all hilarious.
It's a different kind of bond.
No, we've actually been looking into buying a manufacturing facility
on the south side of Chicago.
Yes, because
do that.
We spend what, 10, $20K a month in rent. Like, you know, I'm like, we could afford.
What? Yes. Don't do that.
Man,
y'all say less.
There's a spot on like 93rd and Sangamon that would probably be perfect for you all. And I would say this, I need to jump on that before all of the cannabis companies take up all of these manufacturing spots on the south side.
Yeah, you know what? And there's another spot that you could look at. Look at the Cook County Land Bank, because
I have been, yes.
Exactly
right.
Yeah.
So you guys, we did the home giveaway with the Cook County Land Bank. I don't know.
I did watch the home giveaway.
Right. So we did that. And what people may have gotten from that is like, oh, I can go there to buy a house or to buy a multi-unit. But no, Cook County Land Bank actually has commercial buildings also.
They do.
Yes.
So,
and it's like you can get them with some of the things that we've been talking about, because we've been able to connect with some of the leaders in government, some of the leaders in the neighborhoods that we're looking at, is that they are really trying to make use of the properties that are available. So an abandoned property or an empty lot does nothing for the city. If we
can't collect taxes on that.
Can't collect taxes on it, can't do anything. So if we can come in, develop that property, use it to create jobs, use it to bring in new economic opportunities, the city will help you achieve those things. And that's kind of our goal.
If you are an alderman on the south side and you are listening to this podcast, email me, Kim@curlmix.com, okay? We are looking to move. We're currently on the near west side of Chicago, so we're at the incubator. We want to move it south, especially since most of our employees live south anyway. So they're traveling north to go to work every day, and it's really convenient when it's like negative 15-degree wind chill. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the goal. That's a 2020, 2021 goal. Is to, and then I would save us like $100,000 a year.
Build it or buy and renovate, like a brand new facility.
It has to be government funded.
All right, so I'm gonna reverse engineer this right now, because this actually sounds like the dream plan execute moment. So I'm gonna reverse engineer this. Your dream is to locate a commercial property to move your manufacturing business into.
Correct.
The plan, you're doing the research right now.
Yes.
Locating different opportunities where you could possibly do it.
I've been on cookcountylandbank.org. I found about 3 properties, one in South Shore. I know y'all talk about South Shore all the time. I have reached out to some people on the board at cookcountylandbank.org. And then my next step is looking at aldermen to see who I need to talk to kind of help push us into the neighborhood.
Can we help y'all with that? Because we know exactly who to talk to, and we can make those.
Hey, we'll have to do that on offline, man.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. No. But no, seriously. See, this is the thing. You know how some people, they have access to resources and to people, and then they hoard that information and they hide it and they don't want to share anything?
Yeah.
No, that's not us. That's not us. Because everything you just said just now, I know exactly who you need to talk to, and we can make those connections for you. So we're going to make that happen this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're
I
going to make that
appreciate that. I would love that.
That's actually one of the main drivers of our success in business, period, is that we are, one, very, very open with what we're able to do and accomplish, and we teach almost just as much as we grow. And we always are networking with other, black entrepreneurs, people of color in the entrepreneurship game. And that network that we've built up is the number one key to our success over the last 3 years. We would not have grown this fast if not for the help and support of other entrepreneurs like you guys and like people in our network.
Kindred spirits, man, because that's the same thing. Our rise with real estate, it very much happened with relationships and adding value to people as we go up.
Right. And always trying to add value.
Precisely
And believe me, we're going to add some value to you guys. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys a question. Kim went first last time, so we're going to let Tim go first. Off the top of your head, what does homecoming mean to you?
So for me, I really kind of come back to, what we experienced in life was that we always kind of thought that we needed to leave our home in order to find new opportunities, right? It was always one of those grass is greener on the other side type of things. But in coming kind of back to Chicago and realizing that there is an entire world of opportunities here right at home that we can take advantage of. That's kind of what I think of when I hear homecoming. Chicago is going to be the city of the future, and we need to be a part of it.
Did y'all hear that? Because I felt something when he said that.
Yeah.
Homecoming.
Because I feel the same way about Chicago.
And because you said that, and if you're listening right now, if you hear a consistent theme right now, there's massive opportunity in Chicago. There's always opportunities wherever you're listening, but there's massive opportunities in Chicago for both real estate and business. But let's get back to Kim. What do you think of when you think of
my
homecoming?
answer's not as good as Tim's.
It's not a competition.
That's so funny. I do love coming home after traveling abroad, but that's not what I was going to say. When you said homecoming, what came to mind was my time at Morgan Park, because I felt like we had the best homecomings I've ever experienced in life, and I've never had school spirit like I had as a Mustang.
Man, I love being at Morgan Park.
Right.
I had a great experience. You know what? While we talking about Morgan Park, I do want to mention
Send some prayers out.
Yeah, say some praise out for to Mr. Donahue, Donahue's family.
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Italian,
he was my Italian teacher, but he was more than just an Italian teacher. He's
my Spanish teacher.
He was your Spanish teacher. Mr. Donahue, he symbolized school spirit. It was many a day when I would see him climb the ladder to put the words up there on the sign to let you know who the football team was playing this week, or the fact that we were taking some test or whatever it was.
He was all in.
Oh, wow.
I think when he retired, he had something like 2 or 3 years worth of like sick days and like time off built up because he
never took a day off.
Right.
Like in like a 20, 30-year career, never took a day off.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
He was good people. And like you just said, thinking about Morgan Park and how great an experience we had. The teachers at Morgan Park, the security guards, the lunchroom staff, it was a family at Morgan Park. And when I talk to students now at Morgan Park, they still, feel that way. But man, I get warm feelings whenever I think about my high school experience. Morgan Park was a special place.
Yeah, man,
Yes.
You should have been a Mustang.
That's right. You should have been a Mustang.
And I'm also thinking, like, this year, Morgan Park got awarded like $26 million to renovate the entire property.
Are you serious?
The
yeah.
football field, both the old building and the new building. It's going to be a completely different situation. But I'm wondering, are the same type of students going to be there, or are they going to do some type of testing to
So
to get in there?
Yeah, one of the interesting things we've experienced is because we've kind of stayed connected in our own little alumni network, but then also we've been back to the school almost every year since we left Morgan Park. I think just now after kids, it's been a little less, but they've now turned the entire school into an IB program school, right? So all the students are part of the International Baccalaureate program, and so there's like another level of academic achievement that's going to kind of be coming out of the school.
I'm glad to hear that.
So does that mean the neighborhood kids can't go to that school anymore?
I think there's a program for the neighborhood kids. I think it's just not IB. But so back when I was going, IB was like maybe 60 students out of the 1,000 people coming in for the class. And this time I think IB maybe like, now don't quote me because I don't know, but I think maybe like 50 or 60% of students, and everybody else is like the other 40.
Right.
So it's just expanded, but I don't know. I don't know all the details, so we can't speak to it exactly.
Well, since we keep talking about these high school experiences, can you guys give us some kind of interesting homecoming story? He
got one in his head already or something. I don't know. What was that?
So
Go ahead.
I don't have super interesting homecoming stories because one of the cool things is I was on the football team and Kim was on the band. So we was like, homecoming was like work almost.
Right.
With my little saxophone.
We was always like, it was always a big deal. So, we took homecoming very, very serious. I remember even back in the 7th and 8th grade program, just participated in like Spirit Week.
Faces painted. Oh, people have like the spray painted outfits, like spray painted
yeah.
shirt. Like
it was just another level. Like everybody had school spirit. Like the school bled like green and white. And so
were y'all dating in high school?
Yes.
Yeah, we met actually freshman year, second period gym class. We sat in the same line.
Wow. He knows all of this.
And so
Wow.
But Kim, we didn't get together until junior year. Right, because at the time, like I liked Kim. She was real cute. We was having fun. She was athletic, and I was like, man, I loved it. But I went up. I finally like got my wit and my will up to talk to her, and then she introduced me to her boyfriend.
Whoa! That's a whole other story.
Tell the story.
That was
I gotta tell the story.
In high school.
But I was like, I kept my eye out. Eventually, they broke up. But it wasn't until like junior year that I finally kind of saw her again. We would meet up in the hall. I'd be like, "Hey, Kim," and she'd be like, "Hey, Tim." And eventually, that kind of evolved into like.
I love the alliteration with this.
I kept running into him after division, right? And so I was like, do we have the same like schedule? Like, what's going on? Years later, I found out he was racing out of his class to happen to run into me, so that I could then say,
I was running
"Hey,
down the hallway, timing. I would time when I would go down the stairs, so I knew like, oh, she got to come up the stairs. I would time. I was like, yo.
Y'all plan to go to college together?
No, not at all. Kim didn't even want to go to U of I.
Stop telling people that.
Don't lie. Kim wanted to go to University of Michigan.
Another Big Ten? No, man, not another
She
Big Ten
wanted to
school.
go to University of Michigan, but like she didn't work out. And she got into U of I. I wanted to go to U of I, but I didn't get in initially, which is crazy. It was like the only school I applied for. Which was a mistake.
You went to Parkland or something?
It was a mistake.
Tim was a lazy genius, right? So who gets a 30 on the ACT?
Whoa,
right?
30. Whoa.
But like, what was your GPA? He got.
It's like a 2 something.
It was low. It was real low. Tim is
wasn't
like.
that
So how'd you get in?
He got a perfect.
Oh no, I got a 3. I got a 3.0 by the end.
Tim had a perfect score in reading on the ACT, so a 36. Perfect score, but he wasn't going to class. He was late all the time, and so he didn't get into U of I, and he applied like 3 times or something like that.
So what you do?
I did not have my act together. So I actually I got a track scholarship to a small NAIA school in middle of nowhere, Missouri. I did that first year. Got almost a perfect GPA there. I reapplied for transfer admission, didn't get in, and then so I had to. Appeal that transfer decision. Told him, I'm a new man. I have changed. I messed around in high school, but I got it together. I proved that I could do it, and then I finally got in for my sophomore year. So I finished there, sophomore to senior year at U of I.
You know what?
Okay.
That's adversity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to go through something to appreciate your current situation.
Yep.
And like I bet you you had a whole different type of sense of urgency to do things right and do it right the first time.
Absolutely. That's one of the big messing around in high school was one of the biggest regrets of my life. So it was like not being that hard worker that I feel like I might be now, or not really fully realizing the talents and gifts that I have, and the opportunities that I have. And now it's like I don't take those things for granted anymore. Because I thought it was going to be easy peasy. Everything, was like easy when it came to school in my life, and I thought college would be the same way, and it wasn't. And so that was like my kick in the teeth moment that kind of changed things for me.
Well,
and then, to be honest, Kim helped me through that entire thing. She was putting the wood on me sometimes. Like I think it was a time where she was like, "I'm not gonna kiss you if you are late to school." And it was like
that's motivation, bro. But you know what? That's the type of accountability you want.
Another kiss out of me until you are on time for at least a week. I think it was like at least a week. You got to be on time. And then I had a bunch of other teachers like Mr. Arrington and Mr. McCottrell that kind of took me under their wing and really helped me shape up So like towards the end of high school, I got much, much better. And then finally in college, I kind of really got it down to the point where before all this curl mix stuff, I was on track to get my PhD. Like I thought I was going to be a professor. And then I became a programmer. Did not study programming in school. And then I became an entrepreneur, which is also due to kids.
Right.
So all things kind of grew from that experience at Morgan Park, though, because it prepared me for just about anything.
I listen as I'm listening to this story. You know, who you pick as your partner is important. And the part that I just listened to just now is like, you know, hey, pick yourself a woman that's going to hold you accountable. Pick yourself a woman who wants to build something with you. Pick yourself a woman who actually cares about you doing the right thing and not doing what's convenient. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I appreciate that. You know,
thank
you know,
y'all.
that's
your
what
philosophy, Kim.
Any man out here worth anything will at some point come to the conclusion that you want to have that type of woman in your life.
When you see Tim, be Tim. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so with that, you know what? We're gonna pivot real quick. Is there any charitable organizations or charitable causes that you guys support or think that people should pay attention to?
Yeah, I would recommend the Gray Matter Experience here in Chicago. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but they basically help.
Matter?
Gray Matter.
Yeah.
Yep. It's run by Brittany Robbins.
Yes, we just saw her on the board today at the what's that?
Bronzeville
Incubator.
Yes, Brittany's amazing. She's so responsible. She really cares about the kids, and basically, this organization helps high school students start their own businesses and teaches them about entrepreneurship. So these are real revenue-generating businesses. Some of the students have made $10,000, $30,000 or whatever, and they're learning this stuff in high school. You know,
tell Brittany, you know, holler at us. We'll definitely have her on the show.
For sure. So we volunteered there a couple times and offered our services.
You went over there to the incubator?
We're mentors for the Gray Matter Experience.
Yeah, so
we've hosted them at our facility.
Okay, great.
We go to them. We talk to them about some of the same things that we mentioned earlier in the podcast about business, how to grow it, how it's structured, in our own story. We take that to the kids, and I think way back when we were doing even the DIY boxes, we were teaching them how to kind of launch and test their own businesses really quickly. Like, what was it?
We had a couple
2-3 years ago?
interns.
Yeah,
We
and
had a
we even
couple
had
interns.
interns when we first started the business from Gray Matter Experience. And so they've been a great opportunity for us to give back.
Great. All right, so we're at the junction. We're at the junction right now. Where we go to Anthony's after set. And, you know, after you've gone to all the events and you've gone to all the parties, you go to the after set. And you know how, like, you linger around at the end of the after set and almost everybody's starting to go home. But, you know, somebody wants to just lay something deep on the rest of you. Well, what I want to say today in Anthony's after set is that you can't continue to run with the herd. You guys have to do something different from the herd if the herd isn't running in the direction that you're supposed to be running in. And sometimes that means that you're going to have to start going to programs, going to events, meeting people, associating, being affiliated with people who are doing the types of business or real estate that you want. And sometimes you can't always take everybody with you. Sometimes you can't always continue to run with the herd. So if you have to be the one who's different, sometimes you have to be, because that's what makes some of us extraordinary, because we stop doing ordinary things that the herd is doing and we start doing extraordinary things, you know, for ourselves so that we can live our dreams. So for all the homies out there, don't continue running with the herd. Do something different. Do something for yourself. And you never know. You might actually become a curl mix millionaire. And with that, I think it's time for us to deliver some gifts. Now that you guys are officially homecoming alumni. We have to make sure that you guys had your very own shirt.
Did you hit us with the orange and blue?
That's right.
This is Curl Mix teal.
That's Curl Mix teal. We'll run with that. We'll run with that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we really appreciate you guys coming on and telling your story as far as business is concerned. I hope that there's some entrepreneur out there that was listening that picked up some notes on this. And if they wanted to learn more about Curl Mix, how do they find you guys?
You guys can check us out at curlmix.com or Curl Mix on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of the above.
We got them all Curl Mix.
And if you're looking to follow us personally, our Instagram is Kim and Tim Lewis.
All right, and that's Lewis.
Yes.
All right.
I really like how your shirt matches with that. With
the Curl Mix.
How did that happen?
Yeah, it just. Hey, that was serendipitous,
There you
right?
go. There you go.
Gotta stay on brand.
You gotta stay on brand.
on brand. And if you all like those shirts right there, you can go to thedowningbrothers.com, go to our merchandise section on our website.
That's right. Go ahead and get some more merchandise. So, hey, thank you again for tuning in and listening to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers. This is Anthony.
This is Anton.
And we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Homecoming with the Downing Brothers podcast. For more information on how to dream, plan, execute in real estate, business, and financial literacy, visit www.thedowningbrothers.com.